During the 1700s, colonial colleges began to develop across the Americas. The institutions were modeled and shaped after European institutions such as Oxford and Cambridge, which were located in England. The term collegiate transformed out of the concept that colleges, although large, were family-like institutions. At colonial colleges, faculty had undertaken the role of teaching students as well as the responsibility of handling disciplinary action. Their dual role often made it hard for them to develop close interpersonal relationships with their students. A significant aspect of the European college system that was implemented in colonial colleges was the division of student body into classes. Institutions classified students into groups entitled freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. This class distinction was used to determine the amount of time a scholar had studied at the institution. Historically, one can say class designations were the first form of student association. Though they were not officially recognized, these groups often had rituals, customs, insignia, and clothes, and provided important social activities for its members. The first student organization was founded at Harvard University in 1703. The purpose of the organization was to pray together and mingle under faculty guidance. In future years, other student organizations began to develop. These new organizations were seen as secular. Students read poetry in the dormitories while smoking and engaging in alcohol. Literary societies and debating clubs emerged as two of the most important forms of student organizations. As these organizations began to prosper, they began to take on certain characteristics to distinguish membership. Subsequently, many societies used initiation rites, mottos, and badges. As a result, membership and activities in literary societies often became more important than the curriculum of the college. These extenuating factors have led to the development of a variety of student organizations available to students on the college campus, including fraternities and sororities. Fraternities and sororities shared many characteristics that were similar to that of literary societies, including the use of pins, badges, secret initiation rites, and mottos. Fraternities and sororities used Greek letters to express their organizational mottos and adopted initiation rituals that were similar to that of Masonic orders. Phi Beta Kappa is known as the first fraternity in the United States and was often seen as a prototype for Greek-lettered fraternal organizations. Phi Beta Kappa was founded at William and Mary College in Williamsburg, Virginia in 1776. As two of the founders were also Masons, many assume there was Masonic influence on the organization. A Masonic influence that can be seen in the fraternity is their establishment of chapters of the organization outside of Virginia. The origin of women fraternities and sororities correspond with coeducational institutions of the Midwest and Southern regions. As women were seen as a minority on campuses, they came together to show a presence and position. It's understood that women fraternities and sororities are an imitation of the already well-established men fraternities. Women organizations began as early as 1852 in the form of literary societies and later began to use Greek symbols. Pi Beta Phi was the first national women's fraternity. The organization was formerly known as IC Sorosis until 1888. The first female organization to use Greek letters was Kappa Alpha Theta, which was founded by Betty Locke in 1870 at DePaul University. As the concept of fraternalism grew and transformed, women soon began to start organizations that mimicked the customs and tradition of fraternities. Hence, sororal organizations were born. As African Americans noted these elite organizations, they too wanted to form organizations for college-educated men and women that emphasized brotherly and sisterly love. Black Greek-letter organizations emerged from observing the inner working of white fraternal organizations. 1905 through 1930 served as a fundamental time period for African American fraternities and sororities. During this period of time, 4 campuses served as the birthplace for Black collegiate fraternalism. Howard University in Washington, D.C. is often referred to as the cradle of Black Greek civilization. 5 of the first 8 Black fraternal organizations were founded on the Howard campus. In addition to the second chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha, Beta chapter, which was founded at Howard in 1907 and became the first fraternal organization on the campus. When examining the culture of the institution, it is said that student life was very strict and disciplined. The creation of fraternities and sororities allowed for students to escape the normality of traditional student life. In the fall of 1905, 40 years after the fraternity movement began at Cornell, a group of black students formed a social studies club. This group of men wanted to create an environment where they could interact positively amongst their peers. Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated was founded by this group of students in 1906. This organization was known as the first African American fraternity. The founders of the organization were determined to bind themselves together to ensure that each would survive in the racially hostile environment. The visions of the founders was to stimulate the ambition of its members, to prepare them for the greatest usefulness in the causes of humanity, freedom, and dignity of the individual, to encourage the highest and noblest form of manhood, and to aid downtrodden humanity in its efforts to achieve higher social, economic, and intellectual status. Since the founding of Alpha Phi Alpha, there has been 8 other African American Greek organizations to join their ranks. The group of organizations are commonly known as the Divine Nine and is a part of an umbrella organization called the National Panhellenic Council. May 10, 1930 is known as the official founding date of the NPHC. The following national fraternities and sororities fall under the Divine Nine. Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, founded 1906. Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, founded 1908. Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, founded 1911. Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, founded 1911. Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, founded 1913. Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, founded 1914. Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, founded 1920. Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, founded 1922. And Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated, founded 1964. 5 of the 9 organizations were founded on the campus of Howard University. Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, and Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated were founded at predominantly white institutions. The founding of these organizations on predominantly white campuses was important in uniting black students who often felt marginalized in the academic environment. Young black men and women who were dedicated to scholarship and service sought out membership into these exclusive organizations. They envisioned creating a legacy that would remain prevalent in the black community for generations. These organizations allowed African American students to fellowship with black collegians across the country. They shared the desire to make a difference in the status of African Americans in the United States and fight against social injustices.